Hey, what is up, guys? It is Rapmark here. So, doing my review on episode 3 of the new Obi-Wan Kenobi series. So how do I feel like it is going? Well, I believe that this episode is probably the best of the three that are out right now. And honestly, a large part of that just goes to Darth Vader being there. James Earl Jones voices him, and Hayden Christensen is the, body behind the mask. And you know what? That's pretty cool. And I loved everything except for the ending of that fight. Like, I absolutely love Darth Vader. I love how he's just being brutal. He's just killing people, trying to root out the Jedi, root out Obi-Wan. Um, but I mean, at the end, it's like it just seems so disappointing. It's and it doesn't make sense. So essentially, like there's this fire. He's burning and dragging Obi-Wan through it. Um, and then he puts it out, and then he asks the stormtroopers to seize him. And then an Imperial like defector, traitor, whatever, shoots a barrel, lights it up again, and it's not even like it's an explosion that restarts the fire, but it doesn't really knock anyone down or back like you would figure an explosion would, and yet Obi-Wan gets away through it. Like the stormtroopers can't get through. I don't know why Darth Vader can't get through. He can either jump over it or he can stop the fire, but no one can get through. And I mean, I get it. It's for the drama of the shot, but it's bad writing, and it's the one disappointment of Darth Vader at this point. And yeah, so there's that. As for the rest of it, again, there were parts that I did like about it. Like, I do like the child actor. It's a little weird for me, but she's starting to grow on me. Um, but the bad guys, like the Inquisitors, like I am just God, they're such whiny babies. Like, seriously. It feels like a bunch of teenagers. And again, like it's so over the top. Like we've seen impulsive and, like whiny Imperials, throughout the franchise, but again, this just seems so over the top. It's just like I'm gonna talk to Vader. No, I'm talking to Vader. I've already talked to Vader. But I've already talked to Vader. It's just like, oh my gosh, stop. Yeah, they're just. I hate these bad guys. I mean, and then again, lore, like, is the Grand Inquisitor actually dead? I hope not. Like, I hope it's not just some sort of retcon or forgetting the lore, which they have done. I mean, apparently, according to an interview, that it said they're not breaking lore, but then he kind of it. I don't know. It wasn't a straight answer, and that's kind of what annoys me because it's just like we have a plan, and that worries me because a lot of their plans aren't good. Well, I wouldn't say like no, I would say a lot. There are some good plans. Like I think Mandalorian was great. The plan there was wonderful. Um, but yeah, I'm not even sure where else to go from that. Boba Fett, I did not like how that was planned out. Obviously, um, And obviously, the sequel trilogy, that was a disaster. So I don't know. It's kind of hit and miss. Um, so we'll see. I really hope they're not going to change that, because if he's dead, then that means Rebels is not canon anymore, and it's just there, and it sucks. Which it would really be awful. It would be a damn shame, because that is a really good series. So yeah. So moving on from that, um, yeah, I do not like the villains. Obi-Wan, I think, is nailing it. I think with what he's been given, he's doing a great job. I absolutely love his acting. He's doing great. Uh, Again, I like how Anakin, yeah, Hayden Christensen is doing Anakin, and then I love the voice lines of James Earl Jones. Like, yeah, it was really enjoyable. Like, again, and then there were a lot of things that when I thought about with the other two, because again, I watched them fairly quickly. I watched, they released two at a time, both at the same time, uh, and there were some things that I just really didn't, that actually just don't make sense. Like, Darth Vader has been going out killing Jedi, and Kenobi, he's kind of been hiding away, but he should know who Darth Vader is. And so the surprise that Darth Vader is alive, and it has been established that he knows that Anakin is Darth Vader. Like, that has been established in the movies. So it just seemed it. I get what they were trying to do, but again, it's poor writing and sort of tinkering with lore, and just hoping that no one notices is essentially what it is. And I I'm not a fan of that. I mean, first watch, again, I missed it. So I don't blame other people for missing it. It is something that, like, only a lore person who's really into the lore would actually pick up on. But at the same time, that's important, because they say that the lore is everything, and yet they've broken lore a lot of times, and it's super super sad every time they do. Uh, so yeah, and then between that and then, like, I kind of, my first thought upon a second watching was, like, Obi-Wan's whole goal is to sit out, wait for Luke until he's old enough to be trained. Like, that's his point. But yet he's forgetting things. Like, he's clearly rusty. He's clearly not good. And I mean, I kind of get it. He kind of has to come to terms with what happened. Stop blaming himself. So it makes sense, but again, and then he just leaves to go for Leia, and that. I mean, I get it. It's not the worst thing. You could even argue it's a nitpick, but I mean, it just seems, again, like more lore tinkering, and yeah, whatever, you know. And then going back again into the third episode, like, everyone has seen his face. His face is out there, and it's like, how is nobody, like, fully recognizing this? And then another thing I wasn't a fan of is just the seeming disbalance of ability. Like, Reva, can read minds, can sense Jedi, except for the one time where Obi-Wan's literally behind her and she can't feel anything. So that's weird that that only comes into play in the second and third episodes. And then Obi-Wan in the second episode, like he's having trouble like shooting a blaster, getting down this dinosaur man, which I'm just like, okay, he's a little older, he's a little rustier, and same with fighting. Uh, but in this one, he literally like takes a blaster and guns down like 6 to 8 people in an inspection point with minimal effort. It's it seems contrived or just badly written again. Like, so I don't know. There's just a lot of inconsistencies in this show that I think it's again plagued by poor writing. The direction they're going is a little weird. So, what would I say about episode 3 as a whole? Well, to be honest, I now look back at the first two, and they probably should have been given a 6. But I'm going to keep them at a 7. That's what I did. That was my initial impression, and that's what these reviews are based on. And then on episode 3, I would probably give... It probably should be a 7, but I'm going to give it an 8. And the only reason it gets higher than the other ones did, because I gave 2 7s, is again just because of Darth Vader, just because I loved Darth Vader. But man, there are some things that I enjoy about this show, and there are just some other things where I'm just like, oh, you got to do better than this. Like, this is not good writing, and this is not good lore respecting. So anyway, so yeah, 7 out of 10 for that one. So let's just get into the episode a little bit. So, we start off at, Mustafar. The Grand Inquisitor is stabbed. I don't know if killed, but definitely stabbed. And she's talking with Darth Vader, Reva. She's talking with Darth Vader, and she goes to meet the other brother and sister. So 5th brother and another sister. I have no idea how the numbers work, but we're going for it. So yeah, there's a whole thing of like, I talked to Vader. No, I already talked to Vader. And it's like, please stop. You guys are literally like whining teenagers. And it's just like, you all had so much promise. And they're literally just bringing you down to just whiny teenagers. And it's just frustrating. But yeah, Vader promises promote her to Grand Inquisitor, even though the 5th brother is apparently next in line. Again, I'm not sure how the numbers work. I'd need to look deeper into the lore on that, to be honest. There are some things I don't know, but quite a bit of things I do, so... But yeah, like I said, if I make any mistake, just feel free to correct me in the comments. All right, so anyway, we then go into Kenobi. From there to Kenobi and Leia landing at Mapuzo, and they go to meet at the place for Reza. There's no one there. So he's just, she still wants to trust him. Kenobi's just like, I never should have trusted this guy. And so they take off, and they catch a ride from this sort of, I guess, mole-like alien creature thing. God, I forget what his name is, but yeah, they catch a ride with him. He picks up a troop of stormtroopers, and it just seems like they're still like it still seems like the Imperial authorities trying to get their transport is late. Uh, they're going place to place looking for this Jedi, which again his face has been shown all over the place. How is nobody recognizing him? It, considering with what we know of the technology and the Empire, and it makes no sense. It's poorly written. It is poorly written why a troop of stormtroopers do not recognize him at face value. Uh, so anyway, they stop at this checkpoint, and again, like Obi-Wan showing himself, like he can still fight, but he's kind of rusty. He got beaten up by the kidnappers in there, but he escaped just literally through a trick and drugs. But in this one, he literally like guns down, at least I thought it was like six, maybe eight stormtroopers, and then just knocks out the driver that they're getting a ride from. It's so ridiculous. It's so like, so wait a second, is he now awesome? Which again doesn't make any sense because it's just like are his you could argue are his reflexes just coming back. It's kind of like riding a bike. Once you get into it, you pick it up fairly quickly once you get back into it. But then in the fight scene it's just like, but wait a second. All right. So anyway, they walk off, and Tala, an Imperial officer who helps, she's a member of a group that helps dissidents and outlaws hunted by the Empire go elsewhere, go find safety, and she takes them to an underground passageway, and they're getting ready to leave, but Vader shows up with the Inquisitors, and Vader tells the Inquisitors, do not interfere. And he just goes off. He grabs someone from out a window, chokes him to death. The son tries to stop him. He shoves him against the wall and then snaps his neck. It's just like, whoo, this is Darth Vader. And I'm just like, yeah. Oh my gosh, but going back to the checkpoint. So there's a guard on top who falls and gets sliced in half by the gate. It's just like, man, Disney does not like to show like lightsaber decapitations or cuts, but you give them a door or a laser gate, and they will split anyone in half. It's a little weird. It's a very quirky Disney thing. I don't get it. It's just like, come on, just show us. Just show it's a laser sword. Like there's no blood. Just show us. I don't get it. Anyway, but anyway, back there, yeah, he's doing just some crazy stuff, trying to lure Kenobi out, trying to get a sense of where he is, because it's like you said, the Jedi, they hunt themselves. They can't watch innocent like people be hurt, and that's sort of their downfall. and how they're able to be hunted like as such. So anyway, Kenobi has to stop him. Leia and Tal go ahead. Um, and meanwhile, Reva, she finds the tunnel. Yeah, she finds the tunnel and is slowly going in. Going through it. This tunnel's logistics are just mind-boggling. It's just because somehow Tala somehow sneaks past her to get to Obi-Wan, which I'll get to in a little bit because this is my favorite part of the episode. But anyway, to help him out, while at the same time, Reva somehow sneaks past Leia to kill the pilot that is waiting to pick her up, and then pick her up at the same time. And it's just, what? And yeah, you see a lot of that. Oh my gosh, and the droid at the checkpoint, I'm just like, this is too small. There's not enough arms. Like, this is not an Imperial interplanetary droid that they sent out. We saw that in The Empire Strikes Back. Those are the droids, these big, giant droids with lots of arms. That was not it. And I don't know what it was. And it's it's a very small nitpick and lore thing. And I thought, oh my God, it just makes me, it just annoys me. It just annoys me, okay? I love it. So, and this makes me mad, and it annoys me. So, yeah, there you go. So yeah, anyway, and so going back to Obi-Wan, since that's essentially how it ends. She takes off from Reva down the hole where, who knows, because off screen in this series has just shown that it's this crazy thing where people can just appear wherever they want, whenever is convenient, and it's again bad writing, and honestly, I don't think the best directing. I think Deborah Chow is great. She did great in Mandalorian, and I'm just not sure she's doing so great for this one with some of the creative directional decisions she's making. So yeah. But yeah, anyway, so Anakin, he goes out, and eventually he runs into Vader, and he immediately runs. And I'm just like, oh man. But anyway, I mean, I get it. He's been out at the action for a while. He's a little rusty. And then he runs, and then he keeps running. And then he stops, and then again, it's like the horror trope, where the bad guy like Jason or Freddy or whoever, goes off screen, and the person's running, and then they show up literally like 2 seconds later, still just walking. And I get it's for dramatic effect. It's just, in this series, it just comes off as a little hokey. And I'm not sure what they're doing it for, unfortunately. It just comes off as really weird. But anyway, he finally confronts him. But, he's not as good as he used to be, so he gets overpowered. And then he gets dragged through fire, so, Vader wants to, give him the same pain he has. He was burnt alive. And yeah, so he tones the fire down. But then Tella, comes after Vader tells us the stormtroopers to grab him, shoots the one who is closest to grabbing him, and then shoots a barrel, which again blows it up. But no one's really knocked down by this. Everyone's just kind of like, "Whoa, bright flame, bright flame." But it's not like an explosion in the sense that it's just like it's gonna knock people back, which would make more sense. It's like, come on. And then the fire builds up again, but the stormtroopers can't get through. And then Vader can't get through, like, even though he could jump across or he could stow the flames with the Force again. And Obi-Wan escapes. And, that's where we go into the end where Leia runs into Reva and then she runs from him. And that's how it ends. So, once again, there is a lot I like about this. I do like Obi-Wan. I absolutely loved Vader, with the exception of how the fight ended. And I was a little bit disappointed with the action. I wish there was more. I mean, we'll see. They have 3 more episodes. I wasn't expecting them to bring a fight with Vader to the forefront just quite yet. But yeah. And oh my gosh, there's another thing. It has been established in lore that if you know who Vader actually is, that he is Anakin, he will kill you unless you are Admiral Thrawn, Harkin, or the Emperor. Those are the only 3 people who ever knew who he was. Again, Obi-Wan, obviously, but yeah. Normally, he would kill anyone in an instant who figured out who he was. So, that's another lore thing that it's just like, why is this a thing? Why is she not dead? And she's clear. Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But if we stay at this pace with literally Owen and Vader like being the only things like holding this series up, because they really are. Like, this is a fairly more generic than I kind of hoped it would be. But I mean, Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's based on him. So I think he's doing a fine job of holding up. But I mean, if it keeps holding up like this, these last 3 episodes are definitely going to go down in score. Like, there's no way. There's no way I can maintain like 7s and 8s based on this continuing quality. And the only reason this one got an 8 is because Vader. That's it. That's it. And they did a good job on Vader. The bad guys, I just don't care. And again, where everyone ends up. So it's just like, where's the tension? There's no tension between the important characters. There's stakes with characters you don't care about. And that's a problem. And yeah, so I don't know. I hope they can figure it out. I hope it ends satisfactorily. I mean, again, this was the best one. There was a lot I liked about it, especially with the Vader Kenobi showdown. But there was a lot I didn't like about it, like the rest of the bad guys, the weird writing, and some lore, gimmickry. So there we go. 8 out of 10. We'll see how the next one goes. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. And I will be back next time. So see ya.